Oh,
Yes?
it's loading.
Okay. Sweet. We're live. Welcome to Essentials of Practical Alchemy, a STEAM workshop. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist, and today we're going to be talking about mythology and mythological archetypes. But before we get into that, we're going to step back momentarily. We talked about symbolism. We used the flag as an example of several simple symbols. And a simple symbol would be something like the color red, which by itself can be meaningless, but in proper context or with an understanding of all the associations of the color red, then that symbol can have greater weight and meaning simply by an analysis of all the associations relating to that symbol as it presents throughout history. So as part of this discussion, because it always brings out, are they doing it on purpose? And when we talk about mythology and mythological archetypes, we're going to be looking at like TV shows or movies or plays or stories and books and fiction, wherein these gods are concealed inside of a mortal character. And so when you look at a pilot, and let's say the pilot goes into some kind of injury, and then that injury causes him to lose his right eye, like the $6 million man, you can say that this guy facilitates a Horus archetype, meaning that he is someone who preserves order, he stands in kind of as a Jupiter reference, he deals with mediation between kind of things are presented throughout scripts and movies and plays, and we see it all the time in superhero stuff. And the question that's always asked is it really on purpose? Does everybody absolutely know? I said, no, there's this layer. But what's really cool is my friend Tony got this book and recently, and it's called A Short Description of Gods and Goddesses and Ritual Objects of Buddhism and Hinduism in Nepal. And it's actually published by the Handicraft Association of Nepal, and this is a current publication, are building things to spec. And in this case, it literally goes through second positions and what it is named and what it has reference to. But the higher order of symbolic revelation is never present. It's not there because it's unnecessary. So just like if you want to crank out a whole bunch of script writers today, you send them to these, script mills, and they the arc of the hero's journey, right? That's usually the thing that's, and yet you never understand that an internalization of this journey is necessary to become a good writer. And to become a great writer, you have to understand all that is the hero and how that relates and how this journey is typified, perhaps in a solar cycle. So this is like tier 2, right? Or maybe tier 3, where you have a series of craftsmen and artisans who are repeatedly doing this. And this then preserves for everyone of the esoteric tradition, because the rest of this then is related by mouth to ear. In other words, someone has to teach you the deeper meaning and explain to you that yes, it does mean this, but it also probably means all this other stuff. And that's in fact what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be drawing you, and sometimes this is a difficult process. You have to pardon me, I'm dying of thirst today. So, this can be a difficult process because people are really attached to their idols. They're really attached to what they think these things are about. Myself, having been a person, who was really attached to what I thought things were about, and then as I grew up and grew older and began to learn what things were about and what the people, my focus has always been not what people today think they're about, but the people who actually created these things. How did they view them? And then has their view changed? Now, this creates a bit of distortion. It literally, to pull a Star Trek term, this is a kind of temporal distortion as you look backward through the historical record in mythology. So you're here and you're looking this way, right? Let's say this is going backward in time. For the sake of Kabbalah, we'll just do it this way because this actually works, because this is your link to the past. The left eye becomes the link to the past. The right eye is your link to the future and the capacity to have a sense of the present. You need both. This becomes the eye which sees the present, okay? And that's the difference. Open this and you see the now. Things stop. It's pretty remarkable. But we'll talk about that later in a different now. So this is your right eye, and you're looking to the past. But as you're looking, there's all these different layers of history that are standing in the way. So if you're looking, let's say, at the god Horus, for instance, this guy actually goes through a number of different transitions depending upon, because he also is representative of a god of two horizons. So when he's young, into its arc, Horus, the young Horus he sees through both the right, and as he moves into adulthood, of course, this youthful ignorance that if you live in the desert, around 3-4 o'clock, the sun begins to strike like a hammer, and the preservation might not be so wonderful, and when this goes away, you're actually... This idea of Horus, by the way, I just experienced for you some of the distortion. Horus by himself, and we'll cover this, actually I'm going to cover Horus by himself later. I want to give you, and so I don't want to steal that thunder. We need to lay some foundation. So as you're looking back into the historical range, their duties transition in colors, where he's green and then he's black and he starts a little blue.